Now it's time for Art with Miss Kate. Art with Miss Kate.
Thank you for that version of the theme song in honor of Mr. John Prine. That was just beautiful. Buenos dias, artistas. Hello, artists. Today, we're going to do a special lesson for Ava. She's one of my students. And she asked me to do a lesson on Mattias Adolfson. He's from Sweden. He is 55 years old. He's an illustrator. He also works for Pixar and Disney and other organizations. Here is an example of some of his artwork. I had never heard of him, so Ava, thank you for introducing me to this amazingly talented artist. So I don't have any books about him, and I looked hard online to find information to share. And there's a lot. He's got a website, he's got a Twitter account, he's got a lot of online information, but he must be a private guy, so I can't tell you much more about him other than what I already did. But I can tell you that his artwork is very whimsical and charming and interesting. So here is something I did inspired by Mattias Adolfson's art. And I used a fine point Sharpie, pencil, and colored pencil, and watercolor. And he works in waterproof ink and watercolor. But I threw in the colored pencil because I thought for our purposes it might be easier for elementary school kids to do at least part of it with colored pencil. But in Art at Home we are flexible and you can use any art supplies you wish. So I'm going to draw with a Sharpie so you can see, because I know it's pretty tough to see pencil on film. So I made a little piggy inspired by a different piggy that our artist drew and painted. Mine is not exactly like his. It is Mattias Adolfson-ish, I would say. I'm not real good at copying other artists' work, not that there's anything wrong with that. But I am good at being inspired by artists' work. And so what I'm showing you here is inspired by his work, but not exactly like his. Okay? So I'm going to do colored pencil and watercolor until I think you all get the picture, which probably won't take very long. You know me, I don't like to have long demos, because then you don't get as much work time. And you can also get a little bit bored. Not that I blame you. Who wants to watch Miss Kate draw all day? Nobody. You want to get down to business.
I do.
And now I'm going to make this piggy color, kind of a cream color. I hope it shows up on film. It's kind of faint, kind of a flesh color. Some of you may have seen pigs in person. They're kind of like a creamy pink sort of color. So I'm going to ask you to pretend I colored in all of him with my colored pencil. Okay? Now with colored pencil there's some cool things you can do. Let me show you on this finished piece. You can press hard, like here. You can go lightly, like here. And you can layer, like here. Colored pencil is very versatile, and it's a very easy medium to be versatile in because it just involves pressure and layering. The harder you press, the darker the color, and the more you layer, the richer the color. So if you would all pretend I finished coloring in my piggy, and I'm going to do this part up here with a red where I press real hard, which I haven't used that technique in the rest of this piece. And there we go. And here's his red bandana. This part down here is his body again. And you all are going to graciously pretend I did his whole face with that cream colored one. Okay? Now for my background, I'm going to switch over to watercolor for a couple of reasons. One, it'll be faster. Two, I'm a big fan of mixed medium. That's when you use more than one art supply on the same project. And our artist also works with mixed medium. He uses a specialized, very fine point pen that he dips in ink, and that's very cool and also kind of tricky to get the hang of. So I wasn't going to try that, and I didn't think you all would have those pens at home or dipping ink, but boy is it neat. And you're going to notice now I'm going to turn my paper upside down. You've seen me do that at school, and I bet you know why. Then I can reach the parts that I needed to reach without smearing the parts that were already wet. So the colored pencil will resist the watercolor a little bit, not as well as Cray Power Crayon, but a little. And on my finished piece up here, I also layered my watercolor quite a bit. It started out all as this turquoise color, and then you can see I went into it with dark purple, dark blue, and got those different effects, okay? So you would just keep going till your background is done. And I'm going to have you imagine that part so I can demonstrate the layering, okay? So imagine that I did the whole background with this turquoise. And now let's say I want to do a little layering. I can take this other blue, layer in here, gives it a richer effect. Or if I want it to be darker and more dramatic, I could layer purple on top. Okay? He works on a specialized paper called watercolor paper, but I think probably most of you don't have that at home, so I didn't use it. It does help the watercolor paint not to run so much. So now, my friends, I would like you to pretend I finished Mr. Piggy. Here is a finished example, and I would like to finish up by telling you all that I hope you enjoy learning about this Swedish artist, Mattias Adolfson. I know I certainly did. And I'll attach a link to his website. Miss you guys. Bye-bye.